Okay, getting to today, as you will probably, hopefully be aware, the theme has been family. And we've wanted to approach our teaching over Advent a little different to normal. Normally, you'd probably go for, who can tell me the 4 Advent themes? The first is, we're not a very high church, I can tell, a very high liturgical church. It says hope, then joy, then love. Hope, peace, joy, love. So that's typically the four Advent themes that churches all around the world will focus on. But this Christmas, we just felt, Shirley asked me many, many months ago, I think it was like the summer, wasn't it? It was a long time ago. Do you have a thought for Christmas this year or Advent? And the one thing that I had sensed as I've been praying, God just saying, family, like Jesus' experience of family. And I was like, well, that's a bit not in line with Advent. But as Ben, then Dennis, then Shirley have spoken, I want you to understand the three stools of, there's the 3 legs of a stool that they've shared on. Ben shared on this Jesus' experiences of family within the Trinity, that he came from this perfect union of love with God the Father, the Son, and the Spirit. And he left that perfect, loving unity of a family, and then he came and he was born into a very normal, somewhat dysfunctional family. Dennis spoke on that one in the second week. And then Dennis shared about just why would he do that? What is it about that message that he came into that kind of family that matters for us today? And then the third week was Shirley speaking that when Jesus grew up as a single man, and then as he started his ministry, one of the most important things he did seemed to be creating his own family with the disciples and with those around him. And so those are like the 3 legs of the stool for our teaching series through Advent. And then my job today is to kind of give a long introduction and then some notice comments after some friends come and share. And really what we wanted to do, what I was keen on doing, was just that you just get the chance to hear from 3 members of the congregation their experience of how Jesus is making us a family. They all happen to go through the Practicing the Way course that we did through the fall. This isn't an advert for Practicing the Way. This is an advert for being in community and being family together. And so as we've looked at Jesus' own experience from heaven's family to his earthly family to this extended family, now today to the broader family, to us, the church. But then here's the thing, we may gather churches all around the peninsula, all around Greater Victoria, the island, BC, Canada, the Western world, or the global world. We may gather, and our services and the way we approach worship and the things we say and the way we say it, it might all be quite different. And for some of you, you're like, yeah, there's things you do that drive me crazy. And that's okay. There's many other churches you can go to. They'll drive you crazy for other things. But you know, I guarantee, if we were to pull 3 people out of the congregation of any of these churches right across the world, and we were to talk to them or have them share about their experience of family, I almost guarantee you would hear the same thing. Why? Because Jesus loves family. And we're going to hear a bit more after these folks have shared about Acts. This is the first church. This is the early days of that first church. And just how they formed around what Jesus had taught them and how they functioned. Very, very quickly, I'll mention a few things. How they functioned as a family. But I just want you to get that, like today you may come here and there may be some things that are different to a church up the road here. But the experience of feeling like family is one of the universal truths of the church. And so there's far more that draws us together and unites us than separates us. And so when I have my comments, we'll be talking about what Jesus' dream and his whole heart, his whole idea of why that is important. But I'd love you to hear from people in the church who've had their own experience in this. And this could be, I could give them a break because they've already done the first service. So I could just pick on 3 more people and pull you out, and we'd probably hear themes that are very similar and shared. But I won't do that. To start with, I'll ask Julie to come up. And Julie's going to share, and I'll just sit here and listen again and enjoy enjoy hearing how God has been speaking to you or leading you this last season.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
There's a lot of you I haven't met yet, and I hope to remedy that over time. But my prayer is today that you would find something that God has shared with me over the time that we were doing the Practicing the Way, and that it would be an encouragement to you. And for those of you who've heard it before, thank you for your ears the second time. The first thing that I came out of it, I think, was that we met in small groups, and we did exercises together, and not the physical ones, the heart ones, but is that we really need each other. I don't think any of the growth I've had in my career, well, I know none of it has been without another person involved. It's we really do need each other, and I need you guys to grow. In our small group, there was a lot of generosity of spirit, just courageousness, honesty, and transparency displayed in our group, and it was just very refreshing, very encouraging. When someone else shares something that is important to them and is a bit risky, and it's received, I don't know, it just makes us all feel like we're part of the human race, We can do the same. So that was great. And recently I was reminded, just speaking about the church in general, that about 10 years ago I went through a very difficult time in my life, the loss of my marriage. And it was people from this church and I wasn't coming here at the time, but it was people from this church that really walked me through it. All aspects of it, actually, was people here. And I have seen that same generosity of spirit in other things, because I think all of us, as we go along in our church experience or other people, we're always noticing what's happening, what's going on, what's the heart of these people I'm dealing with, and the like. And I've noticed it in leadership in times where there may have been a potential challenge, and I've just seen that, publicly response, a real generous, gracious response. And I found that very encouraging. I've seen it in some one-on-one conflicts or potential situations that come up that could have resulted in a, not so great outcome, but that have been just met with just such, again, that generous spirit, Anyway, all of that to say, I find that spirit is alive and well in this church. That's been my observation, and I just find it really encouraging now and for the days ahead. Looking forward to doing that with all of you. There were a number of verses, so many things that came to me over the 8 weeks from James and Colossians and Ephesians about how we do life together as a family. And not one of them, as I said earlier, involved any of us doing it on our own. I don't think there's any verses at all I can find where it says, do this alone. You got it, just go for it. I'm not going to grow on my own. I'm not going to be equipped. I need my questions and my troubles brought before somebody else in my church family to grow. And God has designed it that way. So he's really been impressing that upon me over the years. I shared earlier that there were a lot of times in my life where I'd come to church and I would go, I'd come and go and spend great chunks of it not coming, thinking, you don't have to go to church to be a good Christian. You can read your Bible and, it's all good. But just he's been slowly over time just really reinforcing one thing I didn't share earlier, which I will now, is we did go faithfully to Dennis's Bible study while we weren't coming to church, and we were studying the Psalms of Ascent, and it dawned on me after just something in there. I had that impression, the enemy is so happy I'm not here in this community. And that made me mad. So I thought, that's it, back to church we go. The second thing that I noticed, so one was just the importance of everybody, everybody sharing with one another and doing community together. The second one I noticed was my God is too small. And I think this one caught me off guard a bit because I thought I was really, okay. I thought I was doing good. And I was content. I think that was the thing. I was content with him being, who he was in that smallness that I had made. The practices we were asked to participate in and be challenged with each week really revealed that to me, that I've kind of fit him into my lifestyle in the ways that I'm comfortable approaching him. I'll access him when I feel in the mood, or if I'm really at the end of my own resource, then I'll ask him for his help, But because of that, I thought, well, I have to ask myself, if the God who hovered over the waters at creation, who spoke everything into being, who holds it all together in Jesus and raised him from the dead, if he lives in me, and I know that he does live in me, then why do I approach him so casually? And why do I not want more than anything to worship him and spend time with him and honor him in everything that I do? He is so much bigger, beyond even what I can imagine. But I try to keep him in this little area that I'm comfortable with. But he's calling me to more, I know, to fix my eyes on him and not just glance from time to time when I feel like it or see my need. He's calling me to look at him and just spend time, because there's that verse that, fix your eyes on him, and it's just spending that time. I can be confident he is changing me into the person he needs me to be, and I don't have to manufacture and think about it all on my own. So that's very good. And the last thing I wanted to say was just, he also has been showing me that in our earthly interactions, in my earthly interactions and situations, scenarios that come up, really it's all about an interaction between him and me. Excuse me. Not what's this person doing and how can I change that, and they're wrong and I'm right and all of that. But he is saying, the question is, how is he calling me to respond in this situation that will bring glory to him and unity and redemption and the like. So, and as we grow together, I really, this has been such a great program. That the Practicing the Way was very, very good. And I love that, I just pray that I can keep him first in those interactions. And I'm sure church provides a great place for that, because let's face it, we're all human and we will rub each other the wrong way. And that's okay. We just need that grace because he has given it to us first. And I look forward to growing together.
That's great. Can we thank Julie, everyone, for sharing? And I'll welcome Laurie, who'll come and share as well.
Good morning. Good morning, church family.
Hi.
Hi again, Craig.
It's nice to see you again. I'm glad you didn't run off after the first service. It was good.
Craig asked me if I would share a little bit about my what I had shared the night that we had the Christmas dinner following Practicing the Way. And I laughed and I said, "What did I say? I don't remember." And he said, "You talked about community." And I thought, okay, I can do that. But I don't have any notes, so I will guarantee that what I say at this service won't be what I said this morning.
It's the same with my sermons.
In the work that I do a lot of public speaking, and so I can be comfortable doing this, but we're not allowed to use any notes. We're only to speak from the heart. And so if it comes out a little bit different, that's what's meant to happen. When the elders announced that they were going to be offering us the opportunity to attend Practicing the Way, of course I wanted to be there because first, I know that whatever you're offering us, that is something that you believe is important for us. And so, and you work hard, all of you, to put that together. So I wanted to come for that reason. But truthfully, I'm also really wanted to come for the opportunity to come a second night of the week. So I've got not just Sundays, but I've got another night of the week where there's some structure to learning about the Lord and growing closer to Him, and doing that in smaller groups with members of the church and getting to know people better. When Alpha was offered, I attended, and when it was offered, I attended again. We volunteered to cook the second time, but truthfully, I just loved the getting together in the groups. I'm admitting a lot here on the stage today, aren't I? And that's what in Practicing the Way, I got to look at some of the practices that I'm doing well, and some of the practices where I need support. And I got a lot of support from the group, and lots of tips and advice on how I could grow stronger in some of those practices. But the best part was getting to know a few more church family members a little bit better, and deepening some relationships, forming some relationships, or deepening some relationships. And I've been coming here for 10 years, but a lot of you wouldn't know me because as comfortable as I am speaking now in front of a big group, I don't like small talk. I don't have the gift of small talk. So I'll trip on a chair trying to get out of here after the first service. And I don't go for coffee. You'll know my boys. They're in there like grabbing mitts full of cookies. And my son Eli, you all know him because he has the gift of talking to people and making people feel seen and recognized. But not so for me. So I really appreciate these opportunities that we have at church to get to know all of you better. And I became a Christian in my early mid-20s. No, I started going to church regularly in my early mid-20s. And as I started having children, church became critical for me because I wanted to share my faith with my children. I wanted to introduce them to the Lord and hope that they would identify as being a child of God and grow in their faith. And ultimately, that's their choice. But I also wanted them to be surrounded by wonderful men and women who would treat them, Auntie Pat, Auntie Margaret, Uncle Guido, Uncle George. These are all people that we went to church with for 10 years, who are still aunts and uncles, and who were incredible godly role models to them as they grew up to be young men and young women. And I want to be that. I want to be that sister in Christ. I want to be that auntie. I want to be that niece to the elder that's lonely. So I'm really looking forward to getting into small groups and really having an opportunity to get to know a lot of you better as part of my church family, not just going to church at a building, but really feeling that connection of family.
So good.
Yeah.
Thanks, Laurie.
Thanks, everybody.
Can we thank Laurie for sharing? And then finally, I'm going to invite Alan to come and share, who also happened to share the night of Practicing the Way, but I promise it's not a plug for Practicing the Way. But it was just what they shared that night really resonated as I thought, what do we want to do with this Sunday? And it was allow people to share what God's already been stirring in them. So.
Yes, like Julie, I've forgotten what I said that night. So it turns out that I want to talk about God putting us in family. And there is a verse in the Bible. I like the Bible. Psalm 68, verse 6. It says, God puts the lonely in families. And if you think I'm lonely and he didn't do it for me, part of it won't happen till we get to heaven. He told Abraham to leave his family, and he never got that big family of as many as the stars till he got to heaven. Jesus tells us in the New Testament, when Lazarus the beggar, remember that story? Lazarus the beggar died, and the angels carried him to Abraham's bosom. We're all filling up Abraham's hug now. Thousands and thousands and 10,000s. So he means it to be one great big family. Starting here, we're not supposed to be hermits. Some of us would like to be that way. I've got a daughter that really struggles, loves the Lord dearly, but really struggles coming to church just because there's a group of people. So I hope, even if that's, I encourage her, please go regularly. You need it. And in the New Testament, Paul expands on that and says we're not just a family, we are one body, we're one person, and nobody is the, you don't get to be ears, eyes, liver, nose, throat, all of that. Nobody gets it all. So we need each other. Okay? We have to be with other believers, some way or another. And we can't get strong. We can't get fed, some of us. And we can't really grow in our faith and be stretched on our own. God may call you to do that at some period in your life for a short period of time, but the general purpose is you're in a family. I put you in a family. And so we're not meant to be able to grow as Christians, as I think Julie said, on our own. And if you have been hurt, there's healing in these people, through these people. They are his arms. And I want to tell you, Jesus shines through you. If you love him, he does shine through you, whether you realize that or not. Okay? It comes out if you let him come out. Okay? And you'd be surprised what people have seen in you if they don't tell you. You sometimes might hear. Okay? So the Lord Jesus shines through you. He will. Okay, this church. Our family came here from Edmonton in 1990. Within 3 weeks, we were in this church. And apart from 3 years in South Africa and a year in Saskatchewan, we've been here ever since. And I do also think we need to be committed to a church. And it may be for a time, maybe for 10 years or something, but be there and committed. Not coming, I think as Julie said, she got through a stage of not coming once in a while. But it says you're going to say the word devoted. The first Christians were devoted to it. And that's how it really happens for you. That's how I think God intends it to happen for almost every one of us. Okay, so this church, we came in 1990. And this church has been through some hard times. It's people, it's a life, and goes through cycles as well. There's been times in this church's life in those 30, 35 years I've been here that there were no children in we had no Sunday school. We didn't have a youth group at one point. At one point, like not that long ago, maybe 6, 7 years ago, there were less than 5 kids under 10 in this church. Okay? So, and it goes through cycles. You know, now we've got a big, it's happening. It might drop again at some point. Anyway, this family's been through hard and good times, but you know, I think it's proved true that this church is actually a welcoming church. People talk about churches I went to and I'm never going again. Not one person talked to me. I hope that doesn't happen in this church. And I encourage you to talk to somebody that you haven't seen. I at one point made a decision. I'm going to try to, because it's hard, I'm not going to talk to my best friends on Sunday morning. They might get me some other time. I'm going to make an effort to talk to people I don't know. And I just encourage you to do that, reach out in some way or another. I also encourage you to take part in something. Oh, I can't speak in the front. Yeah, you don't need to. Maybe you're the muffin person. I baked muffins yesterday for the first time in my life. I baked anything for the first time in my life yesterday.
Well done.
Okay, so,
do one person appreciates it. One person clapped. So whoever that was, you can get a muffin from Alan, and you can let us know.
They're not here. Yeah. Did you hear the sound of one hand clapping? So, welcoming church, and that's so important. Another thing is, I was raised, and it's awesome if you're a person who likes to dress up for church, in honoring the Lord, not to show off, but in honoring the Lord. And I was raised that way, and maybe that's why these pants are the way they are. But I've always loved about this church that people are not putting on airs. Most people come, I mean, maybe if you're dressed up, that's the way you always, they're coming as they really are. They're normal people, and they're acting normally. That's the way, and I love that about this church. Nobody is putting on a pretense. They really are like this, folks, if you're visiting, And another thing is a family is composed, here, Josh and Bryn, if you're still here. A normal family is composed of people of different ages and genders and looks. This church is like that. Have you noticed? We've got everything from 90-something.
105, actually.
105.
Yeah,
Betty's
yeah.
over across the road now. But she was doing prayers for the people
106.
5 years ago at the front. Okay, so Betty Rashley is 106? Okay. Coming up, no, 106. Her birthday's February 29th. She's only 30 years old. She only had 30th birthday coming up, or whatever it is. Everything from that down to whatever the youngest one we got now. Anyway, so this is a natural church that way. I don't kind of always a little bit leery of churches that everybody's under 30 and over 15. It's too specialized. There ought to be some of the music you don't like, whatever age you are.
It's true.
There ought to be some of the preaching that doesn't get to you because the other guy does, or the other lady, You love Gigi's story, but that guy up there with the bald head. Okay, so all ages and types is normal for a family, and it's a normal church. And that's all I have to say about that.
I hope you just heard like a snapshot that really you could have been asked to share, and you'd have said, using different words, different examples, but the same theme. If you're a young person, you would say, you know what, I know that every youth in our group isn't like going to be my best friend, but there is something amazing when all these young people choose to kind of gather together and go skating on a Friday night. I heard one of our youth, don't tell the coach, but he was like, I want to go skating rather than play in the game, just because there's something special about our youth when they get together, and our young adults or our seniors. And so I just want to share. I want to share it from Acts 2. And we're going to stand, and if you're able, so join me, and we're actually going to say the scripture together out loud. It'll be on the screen, and we're going to share this together by saying it together, because it's not often what we do, but I want this to get in us. I want this to be something not just we hear with our ears or think with our heads, but we're actually speaking with our mouths. So let's say these verses together. This is from Acts. This is the description. This is a summary statement of the earliest expression of the Christian church. They devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and to fellowship, to the breaking of bread and to prayer. Everyone was filled with awe at the many wonders and signs performed by the apostles. All the believers were together and had everything in common. They sold property and possessions to give to anyone who had need. Every day they continued to meet together in the temple courts. They broke bread in their homes and ate together with glad and sincere hearts, praising God and enjoying the favor of all the people. And the Lord added to their number daily those who were being saved. You may take a seat. So I'm going to have just a few notice statements. Notice, this was not a strategy. Notice, this was not a structure. Notice, this was just a group of people who were devoted. The word devoted in this text really, really matters, and it almost is like you don't go any further in reading this until we pause and just think about this word devoted. Many of you are curious. You're coming around church, you've maybe done Alpha, and you're curious. There's something about the Christian message and story, the person of Jesus, that you're curious about, and maybe you're there, and that's great, and I would encourage you to continue the journey. Maybe others of you have moved from curious to interested. There's something about this that has really got into me, and I'm interested. Others of you have moved to, I'm involved. I've gone from curious, I've moved to interested, but I'm actually involved now in the life of the church. But then there's this other word, this word devoted. These early believers, you see, had encountered something of Jesus, crucified, risen, now alive. And it reordered their whole lives. You see, you won't reorder your whole life if you're just interested. Interestingly, many people will reorder their life when they're curious, because there's something like fascinating and you're on this journey of exploration. But then you kind of hang up the gloves when you're interested and involved. And it's only when you get devoted that you once again begin reordering the priorities. And this is this amazing picture of this early church who probably had busy lives they were leading. And then all of a sudden there was something about what God was doing that they just reprioritized everything. And I see that here amongst us time and time again. It's when you put Jesus at the center and you share your life, not just your Sunday. You eat together, not just ordinary meals, but sacred meals where you intentionally invite people who you sense God needs you to encourage, or people that you even don't get on with, but you have them at your table so that the work of reconciliation and love can happen. And they prayed, this group of people prayed. They didn't just let others pray, they showed up to pray. Shirley and Carlos reminded me, the last prayer night we had, like 6 people showed up or something. And of a church of 400 to 450 people in 2026, can we agree to do better? Can we agree to show up for one another in prayer? Because it's not just showing up for lip service. There are so many crazy needs happening in this church. If we don't show up to pray, I just think we're missing in such a core ingredient of God doing something in our midst. So Christian community doesn't just happen because we show up in the same building, as nice and redone as it is. It happens, Christian community happens when we reorder our priorities around the presence of Jesus, not just the place where we gather, but the presence of Jesus. Luke continues that everyone was filled with awe. So the first word I want you to hear is devoted. The second word I want you to hear is awe. Everyone was filled with awe. They were together and they had everything in common. But the word there is awe. There was something about God that drew them. More than the structures, more than the nice people, and more than being a welcoming place. There was something that God was doing amongst them that drew people. Everyone, every single person was filled with awe. There was this tangible sense that God was near and he was doing something, and he wanted to do something in us as well. Awe and wonder are actually very common ingredients in the Christmas story. There's awe and wonder in heaven with the angels at the Trinity. There is awe and wonder in the manger from the shepherds and others who come to worship. There's even awe and wonder in the community that Jesus creates in Capernaum. When miracles are happening and people are coming around and they're taken aback by this person of Jesus. And it leads to crazy things happening, like they sell property and possessions, and they give the proceeds to those who have need. The word there that leads to that is awe. There's this awe and wonder of who God is. You see, when we get a fresh glimpse of who God is, wonderful and beautiful and unexpected things will follow. Selling property in your possessions is not a command in this text. It's a description. It's like a, did you even know that God got hold of them so much? His presence was so tangible. They were encountering God so much that everything that once held value was valueless to them. Because the community of faith, the people, the family of God became more important than these other things. We learn that they gathered in temple courts. That's like coming to church. But then they also scattered into their homes. Faith wasn't confined to a service like you get when you go and stay in a hotel when everything's done for you. It spilled into kitchens, and it gets written into your calendars, and it gets shared across meals. And it happens when you're standing out, partnering with another church in the freezing rain, serving meals to other people, or serving food who can't afford to put anything in the bag that week. You see, they broke bread in their homes, which isn't just about sharing communion, but it's also about loving one another. If you know one of your brothers and sisters has need, you providing a meal for them is not just being warm and welcoming, it's actually helping their budget, and it's helping their struggle to put food on the table. The early church in so many ways wasn't impressive like we would talk in today's standards. Like, they didn't have smoke machines, they didn't have laser lights, they didn't even have lazy boy chairs in their sanctuary. They had, and I'm being a bit facetious, but there's many things that we gauge, will I attend the church based on what they can give for me? Will I attend that church based on what I get from it? And some of these things are really important. Fee and I would always choose a church that disciples our kids and our young people. Like, it would always be a church. And that's when we, like Alan mentioned, when we first got here, we always said, we'll never attend a church when our kids are teenagers if there's no teenagers. Because in a way, it's like a death sentence to their faith. And so some things are important. And then by the grace of God, look at you all. You all showed up because we prayed very hard for you all, young people, to come. The early church wasn't very impressive, though, in the standards by what other people may be looking for as impressive. But it was alive. Oh, my goodness. And people could feel it. People could experience it. It wasn't just these supernatural events where 3,000 people came to faith in one moment. This is the aftermath of that. This is like people still coming to faith after that event. This is people being discipled and fitting into community and reordering lives and reprioritizing because God was doing something and I wanted to be part of it. I think that is what people are desperate for today, craving today. A place where God is on the move, and a place where I can belong before I have to believe everything they believe. A place where I can be known without always feeling like I'm trying to be fixed. A place where I can experience the joy and faith of my faith while sitting at a table with people who think like wholesale different to me on American politics or Canadian politics or British politics or on the way the economy should be run or whatever it is. But we can share together in these moments, and it doesn't matter because God is doing something bigger. And then Luke ends with this. They praised God and they enjoyed the favor of all people. The favor of all people is not the church. It is the area we live in. We're often feeling like we're pushed down and pushed under. we kind of get on the back foot and a bit defensive. Well, we don't want to give up too much space as a church. How's about we live like the church a bit more and enjoy the favor of everyone else rather than criticizing when we feel on the back foot and get defensive about it? They were adding to their numbers people who were coming to faith day in, every single day, because they were this remarkable community of faith who were just putting Jesus at the center of everything. They were putting Jesus, when there was an area of division, they were like, where can we find Jesus at the center of this, and how can we lean that way? And the Lord added to their number daily those who were being saved, and I guarantee those who did not think like them. You know, the healthiest church is the messiest church. The healthiest church is when you think you're almost just getting it, and then God just spins the wheel as more people come. And you're like, oh no, we got to start all over again. And we just got everyone kind of neat and tidy. It's not meant to be like a hotel where everyone is just perfectly laid out. It's like messy and it's family. I mean, if you've got a family that doesn't have a bit of mess. Yeah, right? Notice who doesn't do the adding. Not the apostles, it's not the disciples, not the church leaders, it's not the systems, it's not the marketing. I don't think they had a marketing department. The Lord added to their number daily. And it's because every single one of them was having their personal experience of the Lord. There's something, man, I love this passage because it's kind of there as this statement of possibility that the rest of the New Testament is trying to get back to. It's not like we live nostalgic. This is a vision statement for the church. This is not nostalgic like, oh, I would love to be like the early church. And then people would say, oh, but we can't. We've gone too far from here. This is like the vision statement that we should always be praying for and hoping for and longing for. And I guarantee if you come here, we are not that yet. But I pray that you come on a journey with us to try and experience it and get in there, even as a youth group. Like, if there's people in the youth group that you feel I don't really connect with them and get on with them just as well as other people, and you see them skating around tonight by themselves, like you showing up and being with them and skating around, even if you're a terrible skater and you drag them onto the ice and they fall and you're like, I'm really sorry. Like, showing up in those small ways is what it looks like to be a Christian community, that others go, man, if our 15-year-olds and our 12-year-olds are doing that, I wonder what our 50-year-olds are like. And bringing food. Yeah, like tonight, like, you know what? People are going to be watching tonight. Who's that group in the ice rink? Who are they? What are they doing? They're this weird mix of ages, and there's lots of them. And there's all this food there. What's happening? It's just the church showing up at its best. We're just here to love one another. And it's the kind of events that you can bring your friends to. Because I pray that as we do more things like that, and on Christmas Eve, when we're just laying a table and saying, come and experience Jesus with us together. My prayer is that you'll be brave and bold to bring people and risk your friendship with these folk, to say, come with me. It is not perfect. It might grate you, but I know these people, and they're trying. And they're trying to be devoted. They're trying to live in awe. And they're trying to share meals. They're trying to do life together in a way that is beyond just surface level. So if you want to see lives changed in our city, in your families, in your own hearts, it won't only be what happens here. And this is a part of it, and it's a good part of it, but it's not, I don't even think it's the most important part of it. It's going to be around tables together, in conversations over time, as ordinary people choose to live like family. Like Fee and I don't have family here. We've moved from the UK, of course, and there's 4 of us. But we're just realizing, we're feeling the lack. And so then we're looking, saying, well, what does it mean for us to create family for ourselves in our home, then hopefully as a church? And so I just want to invite you, like, come and help. Come and play your part. Like, we are weaker without you. We are not nearly as fun without you. We're just ready for you. And in the new year, as you've heard, small groups is going to be a big focus and big part of that. And there's Going to be about 20 small groups, we think, kind of restarting or continuing. And we just love for you to think about that. And I'm going to, as the worship team can come up, we're going to finish on this. I'm going to read this again, and you can close your eyes. It won't be on the screen. I'm going to read this text again. And what I'd encourage you to do is just pause quietly and just listen. What is the thing that God is maybe just stirring in your heart for 2026? Jesus, family, it's not just his idea, it's who he is, right? He created a community that was just electric, and it just brought people together because he had experienced it with his Father and with the Spirit. And that's what we're doing as a church. We're just trying our best to express what he knows and what he showed us. So I'm going to read this, and I'd love you just to pause and just allow a word, maybe a phrase, just to stir and to kind of land with you. And then we're going to sing a couple of songs of worship in a way of responding to what God is maybe stirring in our hearts. So why don't we close your eyes if you're comfortable doing that? And God, we just pray that you would speak into our hearts. God, some of us are sitting here and we feel just desperately lonely. And it feels quite a lot to risk being disappointed again. But God, we're never disappointed in you. So would you speak to us? Would it be you speaking to us, not anything I've even highlighted, but would it be something that you speak directly into our hearts and that we would respond to? It says this, that they devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching and to fellowship, to the breaking of bread and to prayer. Everyone was filled with awe at the many wonders and signs performed by the apostles. All the believers were together and had everything in common. They sold property and possessions to give to anyone who would need. Every day they continued to meet together in the temple courts, and then they broke bread in their homes and ate together with glad and sincere hearts. And they praised God, and they enjoyed the favor of all the people. And the Lord added to their number daily those who were being saved. God, may it be so again. We pray in your name. Amen.